Hello to all traders and welcome back to another NFP engagement brought to you by Orbex. We are live taking you through the next hour, waiting for the NFP data to come through. It's supposed to be a little bit subdued, a little bit lower than last time around, 170,000 new jobs supposedly being created. But we'll see if there's any surprises in store as we get into that as well. So once again, thank you very much for joining me. Just waiting on a few more people to join, so just bear with me. And also we've got our guest speaker, Daniel, who will be joining me a little before the actual data results are out. So without further ado, just want to introduce myself. My name is David Kinley. I'll be your host on this NFP journey, and any comments or questions, please feel free to add them in the chat and we'll see what's going on at the moment. So thank you very much. Keep your questions coming and we'll get straight on to the NFP webinar. So just first of all, just go through a quick risk disclaimer that foreign exchange in trading in CFDs and investment, it can be highly speculative and may result in losses as well as profits. And foreign exchange and derivatives trading is not suitable for everyone. So only risk capital should be applied, which is very, very important. This webinar is provided for information purposes only, so it's my own analysts, but of course you're free to join and let me know what you think as well. And it should not constitute a solicitation for the purpose of purchase or sale of any commodity, security or investment, nor should it serve as a base for any investment decision. So Orbex does not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of any information and supply. So without further ado, we'll just get on just a couple of slides like I usually go through on the weekly basis, sorry, the monthly basis of the NFP. And that means that we're just looking at the preview expectations. So last time around, 187 new jobs were added. 110,000 new jobs were added, sorry, against 170,000. This time around, the consensus is the same. 170 to 171,000 is expected, but we had a few months ago where we had over 250,000 new jobs being added, and that was on the basis of just 150,000 supposedly on the consensus. So will we get any surprises? Let's wait and see. And unemployment is likely to fall slightly to 3.7%, but it's quite high at 3.8%. It has been averaging 3.4 to 3.5% for most of the year. And last time around, we got to 3.8%. So as I said, the chat line is open. Please feel free to add your comments and let me know what you think. We'll get straight into the chart shortly. I'll just go through a couple of slides, like I said, like we usually do. And just we're looking at the most of this year. We have had a little bit of a subdued NFP, always under the 300,000 mark. Obviously, this 105,000 new jobs being added only a few months ago was very detrimental. Is America heading for a recession? Are we likely that we're going to have a soft landing, or will it be a hard landing? And will the Fed keep on pushing up its interest rate hikes as well? Well, that's quite interesting because speaking of interest rate hikes, we are at the highest in 22 years. But annual inflation, as you can see, it was dropping quite significantly this time last year at 9.1%. And as you can see, 8.2%, 7, etc., all the way down to 3%. So it was nearing the 2% that the Fed was really starting to look at. But in the last couple of months, as you can see, 3.2% and 3.7%. So is this a big move that the Fed is going to say, wait a minute, let's just hold off. We're going to keep on raising rates until we get this 2% that we have targeted for the last couple of years. We'll have to wait and see about that, but very interesting times as well. And just looking at the last slide, which is that one, sorry. And we're just looking at the Fed hikes, as I said, going almost at 6% at the moment. So let me just get straight on to the MT4 chart. There we go. Just a little bit of a delay there. Sorry about that. So I've just taken out, like I usually do, a basket of the main currency pairs and instruments that we usually look at. I'll just hide my face just one second, just so we can see the whole of the charts. So I've got the Dow, the Nasdaq, dollar CAD. We've got some dollar CAD news coming up, cable, euro dollar, and gold. So gold has had quite a tricky ride in the last few weeks. We're just going onto the 4-hour chart. As you can see here, we've fallen quite sharply from the mid 1900 range right down to just above the 1800 handle. So what does this mean, and where does it mean it's going as well? Well, if we go right back on the daily chart, we get more of a better outlook of how it's been performing. So At the moment, we have slid down over $100 in the matter of a few sessions, which is quite detrimental for the yellow metal. You know, it has been many, many big sell-offs in the market, and gold and silver, the metal market in general, has really seen this. So we're just now seeing the next psychological level, which is 1800, and coincidentally, that was roughly about the last swing low that we had, and that was back in February. So that, if you think in 1 year's lifespan, we've shot up from 1800 all the way above 2000, and then we're creeping back down to 1800 again. So these big swings of, you know, these few $100s at each time, it's really been quite a rocky road for gold as well. So as you can see here, we've had swings and swings of price action. And since the break of the last big move in the market, which was roughly about the 1880 area, we've just seen a sharp collapsation in the yellow metal. So moving over 60 to $70 in just a short space of time. So where are we looking for next? Well, if we do get some positive feedback from gold, I'll just put the camera on again just so you can see me. If we get some positive feedback from the NFP, we could see gold sliding even further. You know, it's trading at 1820 at the moment. $20 move until the end of today's session is not exactly a big move at the moment. So we are seeing a possibility that we could, by the end of today's session, hit 1800 as well. So this is something we're just looking at. But if we go intraday, let's go for the 1 hour chart. We're consolidating nicely now from the last big dip that we had. If we just put a few of these barriers in here, ranging between roughly about $20, 1813. I'll just move myself again so you can see the whole chart. 1813 to 1833, roughly about $20 moves, consolidating at the moment. So that's been happening since the beginning of this week. We're looking to see if we're going to have any breakout of this particular channel, because if we do, then we could actually have more of a downward spiral back down to 1800. Like I said, will there be a correction? Will gold have a bit of a lift in the next well, you could say the next week or so? The Fed isn't having another interest rate decision until 1st of November. So we have 3 weeks approximately away before that. A lot could happen, but the consensus is that the Fed will actually have another basis point hike, and this could mean that gold could slide even further, whereas the dollar has been very, very progressive in the last few months. So this could actually continue as well. So nicely done for a lot of bear traders, a good sell-off for gold. But if you're a gold bull, if you're looking for gold to start picking up, then most likely we're going to have to wait just a little bit longer to see a really good signal if they're going to have a breakout and then a move back to the upside here. If we can break 1850, then we can then start looking at 1870, 1880, these kind of particular prices here. Oh, sorry about that. My microphone just went off. So we're just waiting, as I said, with gold, where we're going to be going next. So let's just take a look at euro dollar, because euro dollar monthly in the last, let's look on the daily chart, this big detrimental downturn, losing over 600 to 700 pips. It's just been miraculous that we've just had a straight set, not even really any corrections or any big movements in the market. Let's just zoom in a bit more. This was such a big downward spiral, roughly moving over 500 pips before we saw a slight pickup of 70 to 80 pips before another slide down. So I mean, if we're looking at technicals, if we're looking at waves, if we're looking at where the next move is, it's looking likely that we will be seeing another move downwards. Will we see parity though? I did hear a few of our clients have a parity, and once again, well, the last time we saw that, roughly, let's just put in the one area here, roughly there, we saw that at the back end of last year before we saw quite a sharp pickup in price action. But as you can see here, since then, this V-shaped recovery to the downside has really started to impact a lot of price action as well. The last signals that we saw was if we're going to break this particular area of 105, trading below that at the moment. Excuse me, trading below that at the moment. So we haven't had such a confirmation yet, because this doji has gone in favor, which was above 105. However, back on the 1 hour chart, just see where we're looking at the moment. So trading at 105.6, and price action for the euro, for cable, for yen, it has been against the dollar so far in today's session. If we look on when the opening was, which is roughly about here, we've seen approximately 30 pips to the upside. So is that going to keep on continuing? Are we going to have that much more? Going to draw? Please contact our back office, and I'll be sending you the email for our back office shortly. That's they'll give you more information on how to withdraw. They'll give you just more information about that. So euro dollar still looking quite progressive, because if we look on cable as well, it's pretty much going in the same direction. We'll just zoom in so it's a bit blur, and cable pretty much in the same direction, but cable was even in a worry that it was into parity. In a way, obviously, the last time we saw such a dip was this time last year, just a couple of months before, in August. But since then, as you can see here, we've moved wave after wave, correction after correction, but now we are even lower, as you can see here. So it doesn't really moment. And please let me know if you can hear me okay as well. I think my microphone went off earlier, but I believe it's working okay now. But anyway, regardless, so we're just seeing now price action started moving towards the 120. A lot of traders that I'm speaking to in the last few sessions have said that the 120 handle is where they're looking at. They were looking for a bounce. So as you can see here on the daily chart, we have seen a slight bounce just above the 120 handle. So it was quite easily predicted that this could happen. However, we are now possibly seeing a slight correction, or is it going to be even towards this 200 pip recovery after now we're trading at the 122 area? So very exciting times for the Forex market. We talk a lot about silver and gold and oil really starting to propel and starting to make market movements. However, if you think where we're looking at in the near term, it's looking likely that the FX pairs are going to give us quite a bit of movement as well. So as I said, as usual, let me know what you think. We still have some Canadian news today as well. So let's go straight on to the loonie, or the dollar CAD. And dollar CAD has obviously been quite progressive in the last couple of trading sessions. I've got this on the daily chart. Almost 400 pips to the upside in just a few sessions. So the market has been really having these big swings, which is making things really, really difficult to determine where the next movement is. So if I just clear my throat. Lot to get over, lot to get through as well, as we've just got over 15 minutes left until the NFP is does commence. So we've covered euro dollar, we've covered pound dollar, dollar CAD, as I said, and gold, sorry, dollar CAD, we're just looking likely now, if we just go to the 1 hour chart like we usually do, big progressive move to the upside, but now nicely consolidating. So it's always exciting with the NFP when we get the Canadian news as well. We've got unemployment rates, participation rates, and average hourly earnings as well. Obviously, the American unemployment and non-farm payrolls move the market quite a bit more, but it is important to always keep an eye on the dollar CAD as well as we go into just over 10 minutes left of this particular session. And let's just look on the Dow. So had a few questions on the Dow as well. So on the daily chart, as you can see here, indices across the board in America fell quite sharply in the last few sessions. And this has really started to have a worry about the next earnings season, which is coming up. And also, if America is in a recession or heading to a recession, these are very, very important things that we need to discuss, because if we are looking likely that we're seeing possibly a move a bit higher, then it's looking like we're going to have more of a move to the upside as well. So we'll wait and see. But the Dow is looking progressively strong, and we'll just see where that's going to next as well. So, with everything that's going on, another question. So it's looking likely that gold will possibly keep on moving a bit higher. I've just got another gold question at the moment. Um, so we'll just see what's happening there. Okay, yes, as I said, keep your questions coming. So with the Dow and the Nasdaq and the S&P, they have fallen quite significantly, and it's looking likely that this could keep on falling because of the corporation uh, earnings season coming up. That's supposedly going to be a little bit less positive than last time around. We've also got the fear of a recession hanging over America as well, which is something that the Fed is keeping an eye out for. And with the NFP data not really being progressively dominant for a headline, is this going to mean that the indices are going to take a hit, especially with bonds and yields actually starting to be very, very high as well? So I've just had a question for McBride. Thank you very much. For Q4, are you risk on or risk off? Well, at the moment, we are risk off. It's looking likely that, as I said, with everything that's gone on in the American market, especially with a recession possibly still being talked about. Not, it hasn't happened, which is good. It's just still being talked about. So if that's happening as we go into Q1 and Q2 of next year, will Fed rates still be high? Will they start pausing and start bringing them down actually, or will they start keep raising 25 basis points at a time? We'll have to wait and see, obviously. But with everything that's gone on in the last few months, Fed Chair Jerome Powell is saying that there could be some surprises in store and they could actually start moving a bit higher. So I hope that answers your question. Keep your questions coming, as I said. So we'll get right back into the charts. So yeah, the Dow, as I said, has actually plummeted quite shockingly, actually, a few thousand points being wiped off in just a few weeks, which gives not a good clarity for the American market. But if we go right on the NASDAQ as well, daily chart, it's not as severe as the Dow. The Dow, as you can see here, has really plummeted quite significantly. However, with the NASDAQ, we are seeing that we could be in a bit of a descending channel at the moment. But in the near term, slightly consolidated. Let's just go on the 4-hour charts. It's a bit easy to see. So a lot of progressive sell-off at the moment. We are seeing possibly another move to the downside, and indices could take a hit, especially with bonds and yields really starting to get little bit higher as well. Just another question about the S&P. Let's just move on to the S&P quickly. So what I was looking at before, as you can see from some of the drawings here, we saw these wave after wave of the move to the upside. But now, as you can see, we've broken quite firmly this last particular area. And before we had a slight uptick in prices, there was heavy resistance roughly around the 4,500 area, the mid 4,500. Now we're seeing this sharp sell-off and decline as well. And there's quite a few gaps in the market to go with that on the weekend, because obviously a lot of action is happening over the weekend. So when the markets do open on a Monday, we do get quite a big move to the downside. So we're just seeing now where we're going and what does that mean for the near term as well. So let's just see, just over 10 minutes to go. Very excited because let's see if there's any updates on the amount of the consensus for the non-farm payroll. So still roughly at 170 to 171,000. As I said last time around, it was 187,000. So this is quite significant as well. And we're just waiting now to see for S&P. A lot of traders were saying to me it's going to hit 4,000 by the end of the year at least. It is possible. Obviously, anything's possible, because if you look at where we were in March, we did start bouncing higher, and obviously a few hundred points by then have been added to the S&P's value. However, as you can see here, it is moving a bit higher before it started to collapse as well. So we just got a question about silver as well. So as I said, keep your questions coming. Um, very nicely asked. So silver, unlike gold, has seen a very, very choppy effect at the moment. So if we just bring in what we were looking at before we'd actually started crashing through this particular zone, we did see quite a big move for silver in the near term. But as you can see here, we've actually started moving very, very lower now. So just bring that in as for a 1 hour chart, and we're just nicely consolidating once again, a little bit like gold. However, as you can see, the $20 area is really starting to look like it's moving to the back to where it was. So we're just seeing that if we're having a horizontal triangle at the moment, we could see another move and a bounce. But look at this nice triple bottom that we've seen. Could this have an impetus that we will start breaking up higher? We'll have to wait and see, obviously. But the NFP should give us more of a direction of where we're going for the last few months of the year. Don't forget, there's only 3 more NFPs before the end of the year. We're going into Q4 soon. How quickly this year has been and gone, and where does this leave things for next year as well? Nikhil, welcome back. Always good to hear from you. Always asking about gold. So thank you very much. We just covered gold at the beginning, but we can just have another quick look because I'm getting a few more questions as well. So a little bit like silver, I'm just going to put silver on the 4 hour chart as well, because I just want to show this consolidation, this drop off, dramatic drop off, and this consolidation as well. So pretty much like gold, a very vast drop off, $70, $80 in the last few trading sessions. And now we're consolidating nicely. So at the beginning of the presentation, Nikhil, we did say that we could be seeing a touch at 1800 once again. If we go back on the daily chart, we'll just remove the unnecessary lines. So at the moment, we're just seeing a possible move towards 1800 because, as I said before, that was the last time we saw approximately a swing low in this area. So if we do see 1800, will that be support? I'll leave it to you to let me know because at the moment we're seeing a possible bounce at 1800 if we do get down there. There's a only $20 move, which we could see in the NFP session. You never know if it is quite a big move in the market. So it's got to clear my throat again because obviously there's a lot of talking going on, and we've got so much to cover. And there's just roughly about 7 to 8 minutes left until the data is released. So as I said, 1800 support. Do we see that happening? If we look in February, where we were touching 1800, this is only roughly about 8 months away. So in the course of 8 months, as I said before, we've moved over 2000, and now we're moving back down. So if you were trading gold, it has been quite a bumpy road, but very good opportunities, because it was quite predictable that when we did break this particular area of the mid 1880s, 1884, 1882, that we were going to start sliding even further. And guess what we did? We actually slid just over $60. So quite a progressive decline in gold, that's for sure. You're welcome, Nikhil, and to all those that are watching, please feel free to ask any questions and tell me your thoughts as well, because it is interesting to know that we have lots of other um, trading aspects. Obviously this NFP is a guide to see where the opportunities lie, but maybe you've got your own trading strategy and you're also trading one of the big symbols, or maybe not. You may be trading a minor pair or something off the chart completely. Let me know what you think and where the opportunities lie as well. We could discuss and see where we're going. So just want to quickly go back on euro dollar, because if we go on the weekly chart, we saw this progressive downward movement excuse me, because for most of 2022, the Fed were raising their interest rates by 75 basis points at a time. They were the first central bank to really start progressively raising rates, and that has seen the movement in the dollar really, really start progressively moving in its favor for most of last year. But then when it started letting up and either pausing or going 25 basis points, you can see the movement and the attitude, the risk appetite in the euro dollar, and also all the currency pairs. But since then, we've had this 5 to 600 pip drop to the downside. We're waiting to see if the 105 handle is going to have some major support, because if we do get that 105, roughly, just point it out there, we've had a bit of a false break since then, but now we're just seeing a bit of a bounce at 105, so that could lead us into a good move, that's for sure as well. So let's just have a quick look on the Dow once more, as we have just under 5 minutes until the NFP. And of course, let me know what you think. I mean, with the Fed, where do they go from here? Do they raise another 25 basis points in the next meeting on 1st of November? Do they pause? And when do we see the first pullback on the Fed's rate hikes as well? When is this going to start happening? Is it going to start happening anytime soon? Is it going to happen for 2024? Will rates stay higher for longer, even though the Fed did say that they will start pausing and rethinking where they're going as well? So the Dow, the most interesting thing about the Dow at the moment is not only the sell-off, but where we're going to see the next levels and where we're going to see the next support or resistance areas. Well, as you can see, like we spoke about before, we're in a bit of a consolidation at the moment. But if you look on the 4-hour chart, it's progressively started moving lower and lower. You know, we're in this big swing pattern at the moment. We thought, traders thought that we're going to have this V-shaped recovery back up to the mid 35,000 area. But as you can see here, it stumbled quite progressively, and now it's moving lower. So where does this leave the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P? It has had a couple of progressive days, so it's not all doom. It's not all bad. However, it's starting to move a bit lower in the near term as well. So let's just have a look at, just to have a quick update on any of the NFP or unemployment decisions. So unemployment is still expected to come in at 3.7, non-farm payroll jobs 170,000, and average hourly earnings and month on month and year on year supposedly to be roughly about the same. On the Canadian unemployment rate, it's supposed to tick a little bit high at 5.6%, and average hourly earnings as well is supposed to be roughly about the same. So we'll wait and see. There's no big news after this NFP. Sometimes we have ISM data coming out, so that could actually affect the rest of the trading session as well. So we've just got over 2 minutes to go. So very exciting times. I'm excited. I hope you are. We're just waiting to see where we're going next. Let's bring all these down on a 30-minute chart. Let's go 15 minutes actually, just to get more of a better move in the market. So not long to go. And the Dow as well. Just remove some of these particular areas. So just a final thought before, let me know where we're going. So got an answer, a question from Boy Alvaro. So how do we enter the news trading? Well, news trading can be very, very difficult. It's, you know, when high impact news events do happen, such as the NFP, you have to just be very, very careful. You know, stop losses and take profits have to be in. If you know, if you're trying to scalp, if you're trying to have just the news trading only, when the news is released, it could have big jumps in the markets, you know, 20, 30, 50 pips in a matter of a few seconds, which we could see shortly. So with that question, Boy Alvaro, let's just actually have a live look at how the news trading will be. So stay tuned. And let's see. So keep your questions coming. So yeah, that's a very good question actually, because we're going to see it live now in just under 1 minute time. So for example, with dollar pairs, if it's supposedly to be a bad NFP run, a bad NFP data, then it could mean that all the forex pairs that have the dollar in, it's going to go in favor of the euro, the pound, etc. If it's a really good NFP, very good for America, then the dollar pairs will be very progressive in favor of the dollar. So let's say, for example, euro dollar will start falling dramatically if it's a very good NFP, because it's in favor of the dollar. Gold, on the other hand, because when the dollar's doing well, gold usually goes the other direction. Gold could start falling. So let's see what's happening. Just over 10 seconds to go. We should start seeing the market moves now, and we'll obviously see what the job number is as well. So just bear with me while we get this news. So already you can see it's moving in favor of the dollar. And there you go. This is what news trading is all about. Take a look at the euro dollar, pound dollar, all moving. That's because, wow, 336,000 new jobs being added. So that's very, very progressive for the dollar. And as you can see, it moving in favor of the dollar, and gold is sliding down even further, and that is because it's been very, very good for the dollar. So this is news trading as at its best. So let's just take a look at what we're looking at the moment. So euro dollar moving just over 30 pips. Very, very big move in the market. Haven't seen one of these for the NFP in a while. 50 pips for cable at the moment. Let's go on the 30-minute chart so it's a bit easier to see. But silver, the metal market, silver and gold falling quite dramatically at the moment. Just over $8 move for gold, which is quite detrimental in just a few seconds. So, Boy Alvaro, this is how we trade news at the moment. What you would do is, if you believed there was going to be a good NFP reading like there was doing, you would probably sell euro dollar, sell gold, sell all the pairs in favor of the dollar, or depending on if the dollar is the base or quote currency, but we can go through that another time. And then we can see if price action is going to start moving, and then you close the trade if you want, or you can keep it open. But as I said, if we go to the minute chart on the euro dollar, for example, this is the first minute. So we've gone from here all the way down to here. So we've gone 44 pip move in just 1 minute. This is what news trading is all about. And this is why it can be quite risky, or it can be quite beneficial. So, but obviously we're here to try and guide you and make sure that we're giving you the best education and the best news event as well. So Dow's fallen quite significantly as well. Dollar CAD, that's actually starting to retrace quite nicely. That moved quite significantly, but probably that hasn't moved as much because I'm presuming the Canadian news at the time was quite good. Unemployment rate stayed, no, unemployment rate, yeah, stayed the same, 5.5%. There was 63,000 jobs being added. So that was quite good for the Canadian news. That's why you don't see much of a big move on dollar CAD, rather than you've had a bigger move on gold and the euro dollar as well. So let's just have a quick look at where we're going to at the moment. So euro dollar just kind of bouncing close to 105. It's kind of flirting with that particular area again. We might get a little bit more support there, so we might not expect any more of a downturn there. So if you were news trading now, what you could do if you wanted is probably close this particular trade, depending on what you've opened. You've made just over 40 pips, depending on the lot size and everything. If you wanted to, you can close. If you wanted to, you can keep it open. However, the 105 handle looks like it's going to be a big psychological area for the euro dollar. So it might not dip any more below that. But obviously, it's not, this isn't investment advice. This is just my own personal prediction. Silver and gold dropping as well. Obviously, the metal markets do get affected when the dollar is moving a bit higher, but that's only moved a couple of dollars. Again, though, once it's pierced the $21 area, it doesn't look like it's going to fall any further down to $20. Silver has had this triple bottom, so it doesn't look like it's going to break any further. If it does break $20 silver, you can expect quite a big decline, possibly going down to $18, $17. But we'll wait and see. At the moment, as you can see here, it's just slightly progressively going a bit further downwards, but not so much in that order as well. So let's look on gold. Gold 15-minute chart. So we've had quite a choppy price action for gold, especially on the 15-minute chart. We have actually broken the last particular support zone. But before we came on, we said that we were trading between 1833 approximately and 1813. And at the moment, we have broken that 1811. Will it be a confirmation? We'll have to wait and see. But it's looking quite likely we could be just dipping below 1810 before we have a bit of a move higher. But at the beginning of this presentation, we did say that we've got the daily chart. We did say that 1800 could be touched by the end of today's session. So don't be surprised if that does happen as well. Let's just get rid of a few other of these lines so it's a bit easy to see. So 1800 is roughly where I'll be seeing if it's going to attempt to break. If it doesn't, then we could be seeing quite a small rebound for today's session at least, because we're going to have a slight move higher as well. So we'll wait and see if that actually comes into play. So as I said, keep your questions coming. We're just 5 minutes after the NFP. Just got a little bit more to go to see where we're looking at for the next move. So as I said, euro dollar, it has actually just touched the 105 area. Let's just put that into place here. So that is like literally on the level of 105. Let's go to 15-minute charts. It's a bit easy to see. As you can see, it's touched the 105 exactly. And now we're just seeing if there's going to be a bounce there. So just keep an eye on these particular psychological levels as well when you're trading, because if we go break 106, we go to 105, 104. But the interesting thing with 105 is, as you can see, we've touched it time and time again, and we've seen bounces each time. We've touched here, seen a bounce, sorry, touched again, and now we have touched it again today. So we are expecting probably a bit of a retracement now. It could not be a full retracement, but if we just look at 60 pip move for euro dollar, so that hasn't really happened for quite a long time. So let's just take a recap of the numbers that we saw, because it all happened a bit too fast. So the consensus was roughly about 187,000. We got 100 and sorry, last time around was 187,000. The consensus was 170,000, but we got 336,000. So almost 150,000, over 150,000 deficit for between the consensus and the actual. Unemployment rate stayed the same at 3.8%. So that was quite progressive as well. And as I said, average hourly earnings month on month and year on year stayed the same. So we're going to wait and see if we have any further surprises. But what an NFP it has been. Still progressively falling as well. I've just been told that gold is just slightly picking up now. So we've had half a retracement on gold. We weren't expecting gold at the moment. Sorry, that's silver. We weren't expecting gold at the moment to start picking up, but we have had a slight retracement already. So trading at 1812 at the moment. So will 1800 be tested by the rest of the day? It could do, because we've had such a big move on the dollar. It could actually keep on moving for the rest of the trading day until we get into a close for the weekend as well. So as I said, let me know what you think. And let's just take a look at the Dow as well. So the Dow has actually started moving a bit lower. Let's just see how many. So we've just come almost 300 points we've lost on the Dow. We're just waiting now if we're going to have another upshift, because before that, as you can see here, if we take out today's data, we were going for a slight bullish channel, but now that's all actually kind of stopped, because we've had this big high impact fundamental news event, and now we've broken that and price action has started to come down a bit lower. So I wonder what the Fed will think of this news, that the American economy has added such a big number of jobs. It looks like it's moving to a soft landing. We are looking likely that the Fed's hawkish stance on its interest rate level hikes could actually come to an end if we do get some more progressive NFP numbers by the end of the year as well. Obviously, during the American holiday season, we do get big movements on the American economy. On the job numbers, and that obviously gives us a good movement to the upside as well. However, this might not mean that the Fed is going to stop raising rates and actually start pausing. It could mean that they will start moving a bit higher as well. So very, very interesting things going on in today's NFP. So let's just take a recap before we close this session. So Dow, as I said, just broken the particular area that we were looking at. Cable and euro dollar really progressively moving lower. Cable's quite been very impressive, almost an 80 pip move to the downside there, breaking 122 and moving even further downwards as well. So almost the lower end of the 121 was reached. So it's been very, very progressive, and we're seeing where we're going next as well. Silver, as you can see, progressively starting to move away from the big downswing that we had. It is actually nicely retracing, but will it retrace the whole way? And how far will gold retrace? This is very, very interesting. Let's bring gold up again, just getting a few more questions about gold. We're seeing now that gold at 1813 isn't really seeming like it's going to retrace. It is looking likely that it actually might start moving a bit further downwards as well. So this is looking not so great for the yellow metal at the moment. It was expected to recover slightly, but as I said at the beginning of the session, and even now, we will be expecting a possible touch and a test at 1800. If this does happen, we could actually start moving even further lower. So just let's just go back to where we saw the last movements of that. So at the back end of last year, we were trading even below 1700. So it is not going to be a big surprise if we see something a little bit like this, and prices will start moving even lower as well. 1700 handle has been talked about throughout the course of the year, even when we touched 2000, because it isn't out of the ordinary that gold will start moving quite significantly lower as well. So let's just recap on the major events coming up. We've got the Fed's next interest rate decision on the 1st of November. Obviously, then we move into the quieter season of the year. After the earnings season Q4, we've got the American holiday session where we could start picking up on the NFP numbers. However, markets in December and like August, they tend to kind of quieten down because there's a little bit less trading going on as well. But as we go into the new year 2024, we could be seeing quite big moves from the Fed, and it could actually start progressively moving lower as well. So euro dollar, just one last look on that. So that's still holding its own. Will we break 105? We'll have to wait and see. Just a few pips above that, but it just seems a little bit worried, that it is moving towards 105. If we do break 105, expect possibly a move lower as well, because it could actually keep on pushing a bit lower. So as I said, just keep in mind that the Fed's next interest rate decision is coming up, and that's before the next NFP event, which is going to be on the 1st of November. Obviously, the first Friday of November is going to be the next NFP. We've just had quite a big move on the jobs market. We've got ISM data coming up, and obviously we've got the earnings report coming up as well, where indices could see a big swing back up and erase all the recent losses that it's had in the last few trading sessions. So is this going to be the time for indices? Is it going to be the time for job numbers to really start progressively moving higher? Is this just a taste of it? 336,000 new jobs being added. Very, very amazing, actually. If we look at the last couple of sessions where we've had just under 100,000, 170,000, just over 200,000, to break 300,000 and start moving even higher, it is actually quite significant as well. So this is what we're going to be looking at as we go into the end of the year and as we enter the fourth quarter as well. So very exciting times. And like I said, I'll leave you with more questions about the Fed. Is Jerome Powell going to have any comments about his hawkish stance on the Fed rate hikes? Are we going to have even more of a move in rate hikes? And will inflation start picking up even more? As I said before, 3% to 3.3%, and now 3.7%. So is this a worry for the Fed that we might start hitting 4 and 5% again for the inflation targets? Well, it was the first central bank to start raising rates progressively, with others following. But with the Bank of England in a couple of last week actually pausing on its hike, will the Fed do the same as well? Are they all working together to try and get global inflation down? We'll have to wait and see. So thank you very much for joining me. I'll be online for a while to answer any questions that you may have. But until then, let's just see if euro dollar hits the 105 and breaks it. Let's see if gold can break 1800 by the end of today's session. And let's see where we're going to next as well. So thank you very much for joining me this time around. We'll speak again, and have a great weekend ahead. Have a great trading month ahead. And until the next NFP, happy trading. And if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to contact us. We're available at any time. And as I said, I'll keep the chat open for a little bit longer if you have any questions. And until next time, have a great time, and bye for now.